and welcome to the first episode of our new series, Recliner Reviews. And for this episode, it's going to be one of my all-time favorites, Megas XLR. What is Megas XLR? Well, if you don't know what it is, you're in actually the majority, because a lot of people really don't know what it is. And really, the way that the show was described to me, and I think it fits perfectly, it's the best mech show you've never seen. Especially since it's kind of one of those cult TV shows that really didn't get popular until many years later. And the sad part is it kind of was short-lived, which also hits to its mega pop culture-y standardish. And I guess that's really the best way to put it. Alright, so the basic plot summary of Megas XLR essentially is a guy named Coop basically finds a giant robot in a junkyard and he buys it for $2. You think I'm joking, but he actually finds a car, and he actually finds a giant robot in a junkyard for $2. And it's probably one of the greatest jokes in the entire series. If you haven't seen this show, the humor is unbelievably godlike. For its time, it was generations ahead of it. There's just something so funny about a 150-foot robot standing in line in traffic while they're trying to go get slushies. And if you think I'm joking, that's actually an episode. They're standing in traffic while trying to get some slushies. And it is amazing, man. So, basically, what happens is, Megas XLR is basically a really fancy robot from the future, and there's this all-out weird space war with some aliens called the Glorf, which is some weird generic alien name, I guess. But anyway, so the future people, or some kind of resistance or whatever, I really forget what they're called. But anyway, there's a girl called Kiva who is actually destined to pilot. And what they plan to do is essentially pull a Terminator, is basically send the giant robot back in time to a certain point of the war where they can make a difference and actually stop the war completely. Sounds kind of familiar, right? But actually it has some pretty cool twists and turns, but primarily just Megas XLR-ness and just that awesome goofiness. And it's usually pretty awesome. As far as the cast goes, I would say this is probably one of the best casts I've ever seen, with Steve Blum pulling an amazing performance, and plus a bunch of other big name guys, and even some of the best co-stars I've actually seen in the show, including Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, and Victor Corelli. And if you know animation or anything like that, those names should stick out to you, as it's both Optimus Prime and Megatron. So they have actually surprisingly really good characters, and it's pretty amazing actually. While this show is actually incredible, it's kind of sad, but it's only for 2 seasons. But in my opinion, it's enough to satisfy the itch, but not enough to give a really awesome long series, which we all wanted. And the sad part is that due to a technical bug, glitch, or whatever from way back when Cartoon Network was that, since they considered it so much of a loss, which I think is called total bullshit,
expletive,
they wrote it off as a tax write-off, which I think is a very stupid move. Essentially, what that means is, for people who don't understand or realize it, is they can never create the series ever again, because if they do, they will be in huge amounts of legal trouble, which kind of sucks, because this was actually an amazing series. The sad part is that the cast and all the characters, they want to continue the series. Many times Steve Blum has tried to, continue the series or reboot it, but because of intellectual properties from that tax write-off, they can't do it. And so we're just kind of stuck here, which really sucks, man. Come on. Chicks dig giant robots. It's just really awesome, man. This entire series is just one giant joke after joke after joke, and it's just amazing because pretty much none of it takes itself seriously, and when it does, it's freaking hilarious. One of the best gags in the show is the dashboard, the control board of Megas, or whatever you want to call it, and just the constantly changing button, and you've probably seen the GIF, it was like, missiles, more missiles, all the missiles. And it's just jokes like that are just freaking amazing. As far as the character itself, it consists of Coop, Jamie, and Kiva. Coop is kind of the main big guy who, he's the head honcho who runs Megas, builds them all, and he's kind of this stereotypical greaser from Jersey, which, of all places, they find a freaking giant robot in Jersey. I mean, that's not what you find in Jersey, but sure, let's go for it. As long as it doesn't start doing like weird houseboat parties or something anyway. Jamie is just kind of, he's like the stereotypical 90s kid or guy or whatever, and he's just got that kind of mentality and mindset and just kind of generic tropes of that era, but in my opinion it works pretty well, especially his running gag. He's a coward, and this one episode he has to be the hero and pilot a mech of this planet of space chicks he's trying to impress, and all he does is just mess it up from point one, and just amazing because all of it is just sheer luck. He wins by sheer luck, and that's actually about 90% of the show is they just win by sheer luck. I mean, the first episode alone, they don't even know how to pilot Megas, and the only reason they win is because they shoot a missile and hits the satellite and falls on the dude's head. I mean, it's freaking hilarious, but I mean, it's just insane to think about that kind of luck. And this is just all that show is just luck after luck after luck, and it's freaking amazing, man. Now, as far as Kiva goes, she's essentially the Arnold Schwarzenegger of this series, I guess, since she's technically sent back in time with Megas to go and fight, but it's at the wrong part of the timeline. So, X-Men wise and whatnot, she gets to go all the way back and get screwed up, kind of like Terminator. And anyway, she's just there to go and pilot Megas, but when she gets there, she can't find Megas, and it turns out Coop basically Coopenize and just like generic heavy metal retro, just Megas the fuck out of Megas, and it's just amazing with, you know, the iconic 8-ball flames in the arms, and it's freaking hilarious. Not to mention, my favorite part is the chick mud flaps on the legs, as I think that's freaking hilarious. And probably one of the best jokes of it is they're at a parade and there's this guy with his kid on his shoulder just looking like, hey buddy, I can't see us, just staring at like 80-foot like truck fender, just chick right there, and just amazing. I almost forgot one of the funniest characters, Goat. He's essentially just this junkyard guy who's his stick is he's always trying to pick up chicks, and it's just freaking hilarious because he's just total creep. He doesn't know how to do everything and is just overly obsessed with junk. And his kind of gag throughout the series is he always got a lollipop in his mouth, and it leads to some comic things, especially one episode he's trying to hit on Kiva, and she finally figures out what duct tape is and just duct tapes him in the back of Megas, and it's like, wow, this really works a lot, and it's just freaking amazing, man, and just all of it is awesome. Now, if I had to give this show a rating, I would give it a 10 out of 10. This is a godlike series with amazing cast, amazing direction and writing, amazing jokes, and just amazing graphics and style. I mean, sure, it's a little dated by today's standards, but I mean, it's retro, it's awesome, it's cheese, and it's just the right amount of cheese for just an amazing series, and I would highly recommend this show. Especially if you have not seen it, which, if you're like me, you probably didn't know of until right now, because I just recently found out about it, and I was a huge fan of Cartoon Network and way back when, and I mean, that's just what happens, man. Thank you guys so much for watching and giving this series a chance. I truly hope you had as much fun as I have, so I will see you guys in the next video.